Alright everyone, welcome back to yet another episode review video for last night's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. This one was amazing, guys. That's, you know what I mean? Like, I can't really say much else than that. Review's over. Thank you. I'm kidding. But, no, this episode was absolutely outstanding. Above the rest that we've seen in Fear the Walking Dead so far. And, quite possibly even The Walking Dead. This episode was really, okay, The Walking Dead's pushing it, I'll admit. But this episode was really, really good. It was solid all the way around, and we've seen some really cool stuff from Alicia, or should I say Lexa, you know what I mean? For those of you guys that watch the 100, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, I strongly recommend you guys watch the 100. With that being said, she does play a character on the 100. Her name's Lexa, and she's a badass, essentially, and we get to see it here in this episode as well. So, Season 3, Episode 13, This Land is Your Land. We went over it in my prediction video. I predicted that a lot of things would happen in this episode. I thought it was going to be basically focused on the farm and, you know, the ranch, whatever you guys want to call it. And it was focused really on Alicia and the group's survival down there in the cellar or pantry, whatever you guys want to call it. And the fact that Nick and Troy were basically trying to come together with a plan to rescue the people that Troy tried to kill. Either way, though, it ended a good way. All right, spoiler alert, obviously. Okay. And with that being said, obviously we know that the Horde pushed them into the pantry, and they're basically stuck down there. Now, the thing is, you know, they're safe down there from walkers. But the thing also that they bring up pretty early on in the episode is there's got to be people down there that have been bitten by walkers. And sure enough, there is. And they only really get to find out about it when Alicia has to bring it up, in a sense to where they need to take care of the people that have been already bitten and are going to die because they are running out of air. And the reason they're running out of air is because the vent is broken, essentially. There's no air coming in to the pantry whatsoever. And they're all soon going to suffocate and pass out. And basically, Alicia comes up with this idea of taking care of the sick. You know what I mean? Basically putting them down, the people who have already been bitten, you know, coming forward and basically realizing their fate. Realizing the fact that they're going to die and taking the initiative to hopefully save everybody else. Now, does that work? Not so much, because they do run out of air anyways. But Alicia did have to take it upon herself, and she actually ended up killing a lot of people. Now, she obviously feels bad for this. You know, she has multiple breakdowns, and she's just not really feeling it, to be honest. But she does get the job done no matter what. That's what's most important here. And I thought that it was a really, really solid episode. Not only for that, but for things that come afterwards as well. With her being badass and killing walkers and, you know, just doing everything really on her own, which is, again, really impressive, to say the least. But with that being said, she also took out all these other people. She took the challenge upon herself to kill other people so that maybe she and the other people will actually survive. So the people that did get bitten ultimately did end up coming forward, not after, you know, seeing someone else do it first, and then they kind of felt like they had that responsibility. No one really took the initiative other than the one guy that Alicia saw the bite on. So he kind of was like, well, you know, there's not really much point in trying to hide it. She already saw me, right? This is probably going to happen either way. So he took the initiative, and then everybody else actually followed suit and basically showed them their bites and, well, dealt with the consequences. Now, obviously, normally they would just let them die, right? Obviously, that's the best thing to do. If you will, unless they're like getting mutilated and they're bleeding out and everything like that. But, you know, they want to have the most amount of time left with their loved ones, right? That's the objective. But the people that have been bitten, they want their loved ones to survive. So if they're alive and they're dying, but they're consuming the air, you know, the least they can do is buy them a couple more hours, which is exactly what they did. So while, you know, that's what basically Alicia did, while Ophelia and one of her men actually went on a mission to clear the vent and basically turn it back on. So that's what they did throughout the entire episode. Meanwhile, we have Nick and Troy coming up with a plan basically to get to the fuel tanks and essentially use that fuel to possibly burn the walkers. You know, set a fire, lead the walkers away from the pantry, obviously takes him out in the meantime. That was their plan. Unfortunately, they ran into a trailer. I believe it was a trailer anyways. And they got pinned down. They couldn't make it to the fuel. They were killing walkers left and right. It was really, really badass. A really cool sequence. We saw what we saw in the promo for this episode. We saw them get into the helicopter, and they basically got pinned down. And they were inside the helicopter. Troy was losing it because he was laughing so hard, because it was just, I mean, really though, you know what I mean? Like, how screwed can you get, right? You know what I mean? So why not laugh about it, right? Anyway, like, I mean, yeah, he's clearly losing it, right? I mean, we already know that, but he's obviously starting to feel, I feel like he's starting to realize it himself now, essentially. And I just thought it was a really comical approach to it, and I think it was definitely necessary to the episode, because like I said, it was a very down episode in terms of like the spirit, right? Because we have Alicia over here literally killing people to conserve air, and of course we have Troy, who basically got him to that situation in the first place. So they did get trapped inside of the helicopter, and they actually ended up, basically, this is later on in the episode when they come back to the helicopter scene. The walkers ended up breaking into the windows and coming into the helicopter, and just as they're about to die, Troy basically says, he hands Nick a gun, says, "There's one bullet in there, you choose, for me or for you. You're totally your decision." Basically saying, you know, kill me or kill yourself, because we're about to get eaten alive. But just in the nick of time, we see an explosion in like the glass area, or like kind of like in a reflection, and they essentially get saved. Nick and Troy get saved. I'm sorry for the ruckus in the background. Again, I you know, it happens. It happens on the daily, unfortunately. So anyway, they got saved. We didn't really know who by until they blasted into the scene later. So we'll get into that, okay? Spoiler alert, it was Madison, all right? And Strand and Walker, okay? Just, you know, with that being said. So they saved them. They ended up saving them. We didn't know again until later on in the episode when they bursted in and basically saved Alicia. But essentially what happened with Alicia is everybody started passing out. Even after, you know, they killed the people to conserve air. Everybody started passing out from lack of oxygen. And the thing is, when they pass out from lack of oxygen and eventually die, even if they're not bitten, remember guys, you turn into a damn walker. So that's essentially what started happening. People started turning into walkers. Alicia was just, she was starting to pass out as well. You know, we get to see her basically fight as long as she possibly can before she passes out. And, you know, what essentially happens, she sees her friend pass out and then starts passing out herself. And then she sees, like, somebody, when she's waking up in a sequence, she sees somebody, like, over in the corner, you know, just doing like this, right? And, I mean, we all know what the hell it was. We've seen blood and everything, too. But Alicia walked over and said, hey, thought obviously it was still alive. It was actually one of the people that were in there with her that obviously died from lack of oxygen, turned into a walker, and basically attacked Alicia. Luckily enough, she was able to defend herself. The walker essentially fell on top of Alicia, and her knife went through the walker's head while they were just falling, right? It's kind of convenient, to be honest, but it works. It works. Anyway, she fell on top of Alicia, and then that's where Alicia basically passed out. So she passed out essentially with a dead walker on top of her, which is not necessarily the best thing, but in this situation, it was actually the best thing that could have happened. Because, again, I told you, people were turning into walkers. And if they were turning into walkers while Alicia was passed out from lack of oxygen, she could have easily been munched on without her being able to fight, you know, at all. So the fact that walker landed on her is a very good thing, because obviously it masks her scent. We've seen that thing be used before. This was not necessarily on purpose, but it's a very good thing it happened, in my personal opinion. I think it probably ensured her survival. Again, while she passed out, that's not where Madison came in or anything like that, but we get to see Ophelia and the guy, I don't remember his name, I apologize, alright, but it was one of her men. They're basically in the vent, they're running out of oxygen too. He basically boosts Ophelia up to try to repair the vent. She does get it repaired, but he also passes out, falls down, she falls down, and basically gets attacked by a walker. Again, she was luckily enough to defend herself. She did get the fan turned back on, so we have air now, right? And she's fine, he's fine, they're both waking up now, and so is Alicia back in the pantry. So she wakes up in the pantry, takes the walker off of her, and now she's surrounded by a bunch of walkers inside of a pantry. So she grabs her old friend that passed out before when they first noticed. She grabbed her and basically dragged her into the armory cage and closed the door behind her, tried to find some weapons. She was still passed out, so Alicia's basically trying to, keep her alive, keep herself alive, and try to save as many of them as she possibly can and just survive all the way around. She doesn't know that, the person that she did drag into that cage is dead. Luckily enough, she didn't wake up, but she is dead nonetheless. Luckily enough, she didn't turn into a walker and bite her when she was shooting everybody else. But anyways, this is where the badass moment came in for Alicia. She was just killing walkers left, right, and center. She finally found a clip of ammo for her AR, and she started firing on those walkers through the fence. And then she basically ran out of ammo. She went outside the fence, started taking them out, with the butt of her gun and a knife. And just as she was getting surrounded and getting overwhelmed, boom, shots. And that was basically her mom and Strand, and obviously Walker coming to save the day. So that's what happened. She went back into the cage to see if that girl was still alive or still awake and tried to wake her up so that they could leave and get the hell out of there, because that's what they needed to do. But she wasn't, so she put her out of her misery by knifing her in the head. Anyway, I thought it was a really solid episode. All right, I'm sorry I didn't mean to do the full recap. I kind of get carried away. It was a really good episode. I really liked the episode because there was a lot of character development in Alicia. It really shows that she knows what she's doing in this world now. Like I said, is it really Alicia or is it Lexa? For those of you guys that watch the 100, I believe she's turning into a really, really cool version of Lexa. Not necessarily full-on Lexa, because full-on Lexa was way, way, way post-apocalyptic, but this is the beginning of it. So I feel like she's probably going that way, which is not a bad thing. Trust me, it's definitely not a bad thing. She does keep her morals in the 100, so to an extent, rather. Anyway, again, very solid episode for Alicia. I thought the episode was Alicia-centric, which I thought was a really good thing. It really focused on her a lot. The reason the title was This Land Is Your Land is because she was actually telling a story earlier when she was at camp or something, and she was singing a song, This Land Is Your Land, and telling a funny story about Nick having to get up on stage and all that stuff. It was kind of cool add-on to the episode, right? So yeah, I thought it was a really all the way around good episode for Alicia. At the end of it, when they were basically about to go back to the dam, where there's obviously safety at place and water and all that. Daniel's back there as well. She basically told her mom, "No, I'm not going with you. This is not happening. Your way doesn't work. There's no safe place out there. This is not working. We go from place to place thinking it's safe, and we die for that place. It's not working anymore." After she also found out that Jake was dead as well, and she essentially told her mom. Jake told her of a place that was safe, which is actually another ranch. I presume that's what she's talking about, at least. And she basically declares to her mother, I'm going to go to that ranch. I'm going to show you where it is, on a map, and you go where you need to go, and you can come there, but I need to go there myself first. So she essentially goes off on her own. She takes a vehicle, she takes some supplies, and Alicia is on her own now. Little does she know that Nick and Troy are following her, because they kind of suggested that. But either way, she is on her own now, which I think is really cool. It's a really cool thing for... I was about to say Lexa. I'm not even kidding. It's a really cool thing for Alicia. We really haven't seen her on her own too much. Other than, the time when she was in the helicopter. But again, she wasn't even alone then. She was with Jake, coincidentally. And I don't know, I thought it was a really, really, really good episode, guys. I really did. There's no other way to put it. I thought it was a really cool Alicia-centric episode where we got to see a lot of character development in the way of badassery and just general survival tactics. And, she's off on her own now, at least for now. I don't know whether or not Madison is planning on joining her or not, or whether she wants to live at the dam, but I don't think Alicia's having any of it. And I truly don't believe, I truly don't blame her. When she was talking to Madison, I was like, you're damn right. Madison's way doesn't work. There's no safe place out there. There's going to be something there somewhere, but you can't go to a place that has a huge group that you do not know. You know what I mean? That doesn't, I apologize for the doorbell, but I'm going to end this quickly. It doesn't really work. You know, we've tried it many times and it doesn't happen. You know, we end up losing the place. People end up dying. Luckily enough, none of their family died yet other than like Travis, right? So yeah, it's definitely risky, and Alicia knows that, and she doesn't want to take any more risk, you know? And that's why she's going off on her own to do this thing and go to a place where maybe it's safe with not a whole lot of people, where Jake told her it would be safe. So, and I feel like she kind of owes it to Jake too, or at least she thinks she does. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching today's episode review video of Season 3, Episode 13 of Fear the Walking Dead. This was titled This Land Is Your Land. And that is pretty much it, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I do have another video coming out tomorrow, which is obviously a Destiny video. Other than this, you know, Destiny is really all I'm posting right now. That will change when Call of Duty comes out and stuff. If you guys like gaming videos, feel free to tune into them. If not, I will be back this Thursday with an episode prediction video for this week's up-and-coming episode of Fear the Walking Dead, which will be Season 3, Episode 14, entitled El Matadero, I think that's how you pronounce it. I truly don't know. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been Frost, guys. Take care.